What is going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of FitBizU. I'm your host, Jill Coleman. And if you're listening to this episode on the day that it drops, it is Monday, February 23rd, and we have wrapped up our FBA launch for the spring. And I am so excited to welcome all of the new students into FBA. Just want to say congrats if you guys are listening to this. Congrats on making a big choice to double down and bet on yourself, build your business, invest in your future, invest in yourself. And I don't take it for granted. So I'm so excited we're getting started this week. All the things. Today, I want to talk a little bit of mindset. And this episode is called, well, I guess the theme of this episode is you can't create success if you identify as someone who is stuck or struggling all the time. You can't create success if you identify as someone who is stuck or struggling all the time. Now, this is a quote from a friend of mine, Nicole Spencer, shout out. And I saw this on a post of hers a couple of years ago, and I really loved it. And the really important line in there is the word identify. If you identify as someone who, because here's the thing. And I want to talk about this. This is really important because so much of your success, yes, it has to do with strategy and it has to do with, your business skills and all the things we talk about on the show, but it also has to do with your energetics. And y'all know I am not woo-woo. I'm not out here being like, just put it on your vision board and it will happen without any work and without any action and things like that. But at the end of the day, there is an energy that people actually want to be in. And if you are constantly focusing on all the ways in which your life is not going well, your business is not going well, I think you're going to generate more of that energy. And so I want to talk about this a little bit. We'll talk about sort of some of the mindset insights. And the reason why I wanted to make this an episode, as an example, I work with a lot of business owners at all different levels every single month, in FBA and Strategy Lab and my mastermind. And we just finished up Post to Profits, which is kind of like a 3-part free experience. A lot of you guys probably did it with me. And during Post to Profits is an 8-day free business education. And over that time, we give people some homework. And of course, this is focused mostly on social media, mostly because people who are in the beginning stages of building their business don't really have anything else, right? They don't have a website or email list or anything or offers or things to sell. And so we focus on social media. And I think there are, and understandably, there are a lot of people who are very jaded about social media right now. A lot of people roll their eyes at the algorithm. A lot of people go, God, it feels so thankless out here. I spent hours and hours putting together a piece of content or a reel or editing this video and just not getting much traction. And you guys know I say this quite a bit, that especially at the beginning of your journey, something like social media is what we call working on your business. It's not working in your business. Working in your business is the front-facing stuff with your clients. It's fulfillment. It's the coaching. It's the getting on calls. It's writing the meal plans. It's writing the workout programs. It's showing up to Zoom calls with people. It's doing Loom videos and check-ins and things like that. That's working in your business. And of course, there's always going to have to be a good amount of that because you have to deliver and fulfill on the service that someone purchased. But all the other stuff, and of course, that stuff you're getting paid for, right? Someone gives you a certain amount of money and you agree that the money they're giving you is commensurate with the amount of effort, the amount of value that you're providing. Great. Now, when we work on the business, those things you don't get paid for, at least directly. So if you come from a time for money background, you're in the service industry, you're a personal trainer, you're a fitness instructor, you're a clinician of some kind, you work with clients, patients, things like that. Sometimes it can be a little jarring to be like, okay, so I just have to post on social media like every day for fun, or like, why are we doing this? It doesn't make a lot of sense because you are not getting paid an hourly rate to post on social. And yet, in order to get your business to the point, we think about posting on social it's marketing energy, it's marketing time, it's marketing effort, but you're also not getting paid for it. So it's not as if you hired a marketing team and you're paying them to do all of it. You're doing it yourself. And so you're paying with time, energy, and effort, but you're not getting paid in dollars. And there is, I think, maybe like this jarring feeling at the beginning of building your business where you're like, okay, this doesn't feel quote unquote worth it. And the reason why is because you are used to getting paid time for money, right? Of course. And so when you come online, I'm like, hey, you have to post on social media, you got to write email newsletters, you got to do sales page, you got to create an opt-in, you got to create a freebie, you got to do all these things that you're not actually getting paid for, at least in the beginning, right? This is effort, this is work, this is time. And I think that it is really easy for newer online business owners who don't quite understand that this is just like the price of admission. Like showing up consistently on social media, I've been saying this quite a bit with my FBA students and Post to Profits, was like, it's, if we are not consistent on social media, it's kind of a non-starter. Like we can't even get the business off the ground if we're not posting consistently or having some kind of free content putting out there. This is called attraction marketing. We have to start with some kind of value, whether it's on social media, whether it's on a blog of yours, whether that's on a podcast like this is 100% free, y'all. Like, I mean, I don't have commercials on this thing, right? So this is an investment in my time. It's a marketing expense. I pay for someone to publish this show because I know that it is a big dial mover in terms of helping us sell more units of our offers. But I'm not getting paid for each time I sit down and do these episodes. It's a rite of passage. You have to. And I always say that social media doesn't have an end to it. And so if you're not posting on social, you're not being consistent with some kind of free content, why would someone ever give you money? Again, it's like if they can't see the value of the free stuff, why would they ever trust that behind the paywall, they were going to get any value? And so again, I think this is sort of new at the beginning. So all of that to say, when I'm in Post to Profits, a lot of newer folks and maybe folks who had been trying to post before they came into Post to Profits and were very sort of jaded. I've been trying to post and it's not really working, or I feel like I'm doing this and no one's paying attention and I feel like it's crickets out here and no one gives a shit and whatever. And I get it. All of it is valid. All those feelings are valid. But this one post really stuck out to me. We had people share their post into the Facebook group. And a gal shared hers and she published it and she said, of course, crickets. Of course, crickets. And I was like, oh, okay. And I looked at the post and I was like, this is a great post. Like crickets in terms of likes. And you guys know how I feel about likes. I just don't think they're a really important metric at all. I would much rather saves. I would much rather shares. I'd much rather DM conversations or comments or engagement of some kind. A like is a stupid metric. So she said, of course, crickets. And I was like, let me take a look at the post. And I actually thought the post was great in terms of how much value it had and whatever. And I go, this is a lot of value. I wonder how many saves you got. And she said, goose egg. And I don't want to pick on this person because I think that a lot of people feel this way. I think this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, because I think this is a great example of how a lot of people feel around social media. And it got me to thinking, like, if you absolutely hate this part of the process and don't find a way to, on some level, enjoy doing the posts, regardless of the amount of likes or the amount of affirmation or the amount of stuff you get out of it, directly get out of it, then this probably isn't the right business for you. A couple of days ago or last week, you guys know we had Danielle Barr on the podcast, and she was great. And one of the things she did, and she talked about this like last summer, she started posting on TikTok these 1-minute little workout videos. And I kept asking her, like, how did you keep showing up when you weren't necessarily monetizing? And she said, I just like loved it. I just like couldn't wait to work my business. I had this like passion. I was just like, I love this. I couldn't wait to finish my corporate job and be able to put the kiddos to bed and be able to work on my business because I just love showing up. And it was so fun to connect with these people and whatever. It's like, I get that the more engagement you have, the more fun social media is. So then it begs the question, which is it? Do I wait until I get all of the affirmation to then be like, okay, I guess I'll give my time to this and I guess this is fun now? Or do I do it when no one is really paying attention and I don't really have an expectation of something, but I do it because the principle, I do it because I know it is a step to get to the next level of my business. And I remember when I had a blog, when I was early in my days when I was blogging, and I remember I used to say, like, if this helps even one person, then I need to publish this, right? If one person gets something out of this, it's worth it to me. And I think because social media, especially algorithm and things like that, can feel really thankless, it is very easy to get jaded and get negative. And I think there's a difference between being realistic and going, okay, like I'm not really getting that many, like clinical, right? I'm not getting that many likes on posts. I'm not really getting that much traction yet. I think that is valid to say, like that's realistic, or that's like clinical. It's like objectively what's happening. I'm not getting a lot of likes on stuff. But I think it's very different to be like, of course, no one likes this. That's a different energy. And there's going to worst, like expecting the worst, like, oh, here we go again. I'm going to go ahead and post and I'm sure no one's going to pay attention to it. Versus being like, all right, every single post is a new opportunity to practice. Every post has the potential to go viral. If you guys listened to last Monday's episode, I went into the 5 reasons why you can't afford to wait to start your online coaching business. And one of them was the fact that the algorithm is actually preferring and giving preferential treatment to smaller accounts. So I'm looking at it like, damn, I'm about to play the Instagram slot machine. I'm about to just see how many posts I can get up because one of these may go viral. One of these may get traction. I don't know what is going to reward. So why not do more? So there's a difference between expecting the worst, like, here we go, I'm sure I'm not going to get anything, versus, you know what? I historically have not gotten much, but let me just see. This may be the one. And it's hard. It's hard to stay in that like possibility mindset to be like, this may be the one. Y'all, I don't really get a lot of traction on social media. Like, that's not my goal. Like, when I say traction, I mean likes. I'm like, okay, am I moving people closer to building a trusting relationship with me? That's how I see it. I'm like, it's a drop in the pond. It's a drop in the trust building piggy bank. And I know that each potential post could get fucking 5 likes, get 500 likes, could get 5,000 likes. And I just look at it like a rep. That's it. I just look at it as a rep. I don't take it personally. And I think we can really get into trouble when we take our results really personally. You guys know my mantras is don't take it personally. Do take it seriously, but don't take it personally. And so I think it's really important. This episode is really about you checking your energy. And when I say energy, I don't mean like how woo you are, how like evolved you are, how like, zen you are. What I mean about your energy is like, do people want to be in your energy? Like, literally, it's that simple. If you are building a business and you don't have an excited energy, and you don't have to, it needs to be authentic. It doesn't have to be like this crazy cheerleader energy. If that's not you, it's certainly not me. But you have to be in an energy of possibility, because the sky really is the limit. I see it with my clients all the time. I'm like, they're fucking crushing out here. And so you have to check your energy, because look, if like your energy ain't good, then why would clients want to buy into your energy? Why would someone want to give you money? Why would someone want to DM you? Why would someone? So I think when I say that you can't create success if you identify that word as someone who's stuck or struggling all the time, no one wants to be around people like that. And we all know someone in our life who kind of like, you're kind of like, I don't really want to talk to that person because every time I do, it's like always the worst thing that just happened. And there is a choice in your perception. So when people say, I love doing mindset work, often what they mean is, I like the idea of being able to choose how I perceive a situation. And posting on social media is just a fact, right? You just post on social media. Our interpretation of that post and the results that we get is a choice. So just because I didn't get that many likes doesn't mean I'm bad and I need to be in a bad mood for the next day or the next week, or I need to whatever. I can be like, okay, cool, I'm going to try again tomorrow. And I could just make it mean that I'm practicing, that I just need to figure out my style, that I am not quite nailing my messaging yet. And there's not a charge about it. It's not because I'm bad. And so I think that if your energy is negative, or your energy is pessimistic or nihilistic, like everything's bad, it's always going to be bad. We all know people like this. And I don't want to pick on these people, because oftentimes like they do have real problems in their life, or they have real, struggles. But I am saying that we have a say over how we perceive those struggles. So I really think it's important. And this is where like your pivot mindset comes in, your possibility mindset comes in. Is like, do you just expect the worst, or do you just go, okay, I'm practicing? What is the perception that you choose to see the situation from? What is the perception or the perspective that you choose to see the situation from? And one potential perspective is gratitude. Right? That could be your default. So let me give you an example. I have this post that sometimes I post it like once or twice, every couple of years. And it always sort of goes viral. And it says, there's two ways to look at a situation. If you get one client, you can be like, I only got one client. Or you can be like, wow, I got one client. That's an opportunity. That's someone's life I can change. I have the opportunity to change. And I know it sounds like maybe a little bit Pollyanna. Maybe it sounds a little bit like, really, Jill, is getting one client going to change your life, change your business? No, of course not. But imagine being that one person that gave you money, that trusted you, that like is excited to work with you. And then you're poo-pooing it. Like, that to me doesn't feel good. So one of the things one of my best friends, Danny J, says is she says, like, why would you get any more good stuff in your life if you're not grateful for what you already have? So if you can't show up for your small audience of people who are there, who are literally following you, hello, if you can't show up in a big way for your small audience, why do you deserve a bigger one? If you can't be grateful for the likes that you do get, why do you deserve more? If you can't find glimmers of small ways in which things have gone right, you did get some likes, you did get a DM one time, you did have someone reach out to you with an opportunity, you did sign that one client. I know you wanted 5, I know you wanted 10, but you did get that one. I know you wanted 50 likes, but you did get 10 likes. I know you wanted, I don't know, you wanted to book 10 sales calls, but you booked 2. So is that nothing? And I know that maybe this feels almost like spiritual bypassing, or maybe sort of like, I don't know, again, this sort of like rose colored glasses. But I think from an energetic perspective, if you can't be in abundance and you can't see and visualize what is possible for your business, you're going to stay mired in stress. You're going to stay mired in struggle. And then you will generate more of those experiences because you are looking for them. If you have ever heard of the butterfly effect, maybe you guys have heard of this before in psychology, that it's the idea that once you notice a butterfly and you're like, oh, and you start to really notice that, you start to see them everywhere. It's like I don't know if you guys ever had, like, maybe an ex of yours had a certain car that they drove and you never noticed. Maybe it was like, I don't know, a white Camry, and you've like never noticed one before, but then you dated someone who had a white Camry and then you guys broke up and now all you see is white Camrys. That is the butterfly effect. Whatever you choose to focus on is what you see more of. So if I choose to focus on the fact that I'm getting no likes, I'm getting crickets, people aren't posting, that like the algorithm sucks, guess what? I'm going to continue to notice the bad shit, the stuff that sucks. But if I'm like, wow, like I posted this thing and these people who took time out of their day to follow me, took time out of their day to like this post, to read this post, to read this caption, to watch this video, like that's amazing. I can do this for free. I don't have to pay for marketing. I don't have to pay for, right? There are so many ways that we can find glimmers of success and reasons to feel gratitude throughout our day. And one of the things that I do is do have a gratitude practice. I also have a visualization practice. And I think this is really important. We have a course at Jill Fit called the Money Mindset Masterclass. And I go through a lot of my visualization. I wouldn't call myself like a big manifester. That's fine. And I think there's a lot of value to folks who do it. I know for me, I always do my best work when I show up in abundance, where I'm like, cool, what are we going to do here? What's the workaround? What's the solution? What's the possible, what's the possible different way we can do this? I'm always looking for solutions. And I think if you're always looking for what's wrong in a situation, you will continue to see more things that are wrong. If you're looking for solutions, you will see a lot more solutions. Whenever I go to my own mastermind, sometimes I can find myself being like, God, we're trying everything. We've done everything. We've really tried the most. And then I go to a mastermind and my coach gives me, like, I walk away with like 50 new things I can try. And I'm like, damn, sometimes you just have to be in the room to just even get that perspective. And so visualization allows for you to take the time. And if you've ever done like hypnotherapy or something like that, it's very similar. If you've ever played sports and you visualized yourself, scoring a goal or winning a race or something, it is really powerful. The idea that you put yourself into that experience, not only visualize, like see yourself in that, but like feel yourself in that energy, feel the emotions of you at that more successful version of you, what smells, tastes, where are you? Like I have this vision, I've shared this before, in the Money Mindset Masterclass, I have this vision at JillFit that I like when we hit a certain revenue number, I want to take my team on a vacation. I want to take them to like some really cool island, and I want them to bring their families, and I want to have this big thing. And I have this vision in my head of us, being on one of these little like jumper planes and like landing on this tiny island, and everyone kind of getting out, and everyone's like big smiles on their face, and I'm like feeling the wind on my face, and I'm the sand in my toes, and I can kind of like visualize that. And for me, that represents, because I'm not visualizing money, right? I'm that, like, you can't just visualize like, bathtubs of money. That doesn't really do it. But what can the money generate for you? If I have this amount of money, or we generate this revenue in the business, then I'm able to treat my team, because I couldn't have done it without them. And we have a great culture and we're going to spend this time together. And I really get into that. I don't visualize the actual money. I visualize the experience that I can now provide with the money when I have it. And so I do believe very strongly in visualization and having those. You have to look for the bright spots and also realize that sometimes your results will not look like you expect them to. So you might think to yourself, well, I'm posting on social, where are my likes, where are my clients? You may not get your first online client, but guess what? You might get some referrals in person, right? Someone's like, oh, I saw your stuff. I'd love to work with you. Can I come to your gym? Can you come to my house and train me? Again, I know maybe it's not the exact outcome you're going for if you're trying to build your virtual coaching business, but maybe you get a speaking gig. Maybe you get invited to on someone's podcast. So your success may look different. And I was doing some visualization years ago, and I was doing some, again, like sort of money mindset visualization, some manifestation work. And I was focusing on like our launches, right? Our promotions. That's like obviously the easiest way we're going to make money. But what happened is literally like the next week, I got a message and an invitation from NASM. For those of you who are certified with NASM, I got an invitation from NASM to write their business book. So they have a business book for trainers, and they said, "Hey, we want you to write this business book for our certification." It's like a business certification through NASM. I was like, number one, this is an awesome opportunity, and number two, I got paid like tens of thousands of dollars for that thing. Like it just came out of nowhere. It was not something I was manifesting, but the opportunity and the money that came with it came at the time that I was doing that visualization. That's an example of something not looking the way you think it's going to, but showing up regardless. So I think this is really important. And coming back to what energy you're bringing, there is a tool that I like to use called the Power Lead. I think I've actually done an episode on this years ago, but it's called the Power Lead. And the Power Lead is a psychological tool created by psychology researcher Michelle Galen. And she basically said, look, if you need to be responsible for the energy that you bring or the energy that you're in, where no matter where you are. So if you know that you're going to be interacting with someone who's a little bit negative, you have to take the lead, the energetic lead in the conversation, in the space, in the room, on the call, whatever it is, you have to come high. Because if you match the energy of the person who you know is negative, guess what? They're going to go even further negative. But if you want to maintain a high energy, a possibility mindset, a pivot mindset, an anything is possible mindset, you're going to be the one that has to provide that. It is not objective. The energy is not objective. It's not like I didn't get any likes, therefore I should be in a bad mood. It's like, no, a bad mood is a decision. You can get no likes and not be in a bad mood. And so all of that to say, there is an energetic to how you show up. And if you are trying to attract clients, guess what? Whether you know it or not, the way in which you are showing up is affecting your results. And so I know you might be saying, well, Jill, I only talk about this stuff or I only complain behind closed doors. Guess what? It's probably seeping out somewhere. One of my favorite things about doing something like Post to Profits, of course, I get to meet a whole bunch of new coaches, which is amazing. And we spend a lot of time together. We do 3 separate trainings and they're all like about an hour and a half. These people are spending upwards of like 5-6 hours with me over the course of 8 days. And a lot of times people will leave and they're like, I'm so amped up. I feel like I could finally do this. I feel like this is the first time it's made sense. I feel like anything is possible. That is the energy I want to bring to those calls because it is true for new online business owners. And imagine if I showed up and I'm like, all right, let's talk about how you're going to get no likes for the next 3 months and like got really negative. Sure, get some laughs and we can all laugh about how everything is like terrible on social media. Or I can be like, dude, there's so much fucking possibility out there. And this is not me just gaslighting you. This is true, but only if you're in the energy. And you guys know what it feels like. You've had times in your life where you're in abundance. And maybe you're not in that right now, but you've had times, you remember what it's like when you're like, God, everything I touch turns to gold. Wow, things are really aligned for me right now. In order to get back into that, you can't just wait. You got to generate it. One of the things that Brendan Burchard says is the power plant doesn't receive energy, it generates energy. And I didn't really get it until I had this kind of conversation. I'm like, look, if you want to attract people who are pumped to get a result from you, then you need to be in the energy of I fucking got you. And I've done this a million times. Even if you haven't, you have the confidence, you have the conviction, you have the abundance, you have the ability to help them. Even if you have to fake it just a little bit at the beginning. But you have to have the audacity to believe that success is possible for you. And a lot of people do not. And so, all of that to say, you cannot create success from a place of feeling stuck and struggling all the time. Now, I know there are certain things that just happen in your life. This last week, I was getting ready for Post to Profits, and my car broke down like literally 2 hours before I'm supposed to be on this call, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what happened, and it was just like it was the fob broke, like the battery in the fob, and like my husband was at work, and I didn't know how to do it, and I was like calling him, and he's like, well, I can't see, and I don't know how to get that. I'm like a little bit freaking out because I have to get to a hair appointment. I was getting a blowout, and like all this stuff happened like right before I need to be like on stage on one of these calls. So there are things that just happen. But I'm like, okay, took care of that. Now I'm going to get in the headspace of possibility because I got to show up for these people. I can't get on the Zoom and be like, oh my God, you guys had the worst morning. It was the worst. I can't believe my luck. Everyone knows someone like that. They seem to have the worst luck. And you're like, is it really luck or is it energetics? So anyway, a little bit of tough love today, but I do think there is something really important to that, especially if you're in the service industry and you want to attract clients. You need to be in the energy that a client wants to be in, right? Cool. All right. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have ideas for this show, we are sort of we just finished, of course, our promotion. We're going to be going into something brand new in April, which I'm super excited about. But we do have some weeks here where I would love to take any questions that you have. Feel free to shoot me a DM at JillFit. Let me know ideas you have for the show or anything that's going on in your business you would love me to riff on. And I'm happy to do it. Thanks so much for being here as usual and have a great week. Bye.